this time, if you could please stand for the presentation of the flag. If you could please join us in singing of the National Anthem. I pledge allegiance for that aerial tribute to Lieutenant Colonel retired Spock Engel. His flyover today was a tribute to the fallen comrades and friends lost during Desert Storm operations and Iraqi freedom. He would also like to include a special dedication to his father, Bobby Gene Engel, who passed away just last month. His father was a 21-year veteran in the United States Army, having served 2 tours of duty in both Korea and Vietnam. Spock will be landing nearby and joining us for a reception. We look forward to seeing him, so if you see him, make sure we give him a big Holly Grove thank you. Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce the principal of Holly Grove, Ms. Thomas.
Good morning. I just love that. I get to hear it every day. It gives me a great pleasure and honor this morning to welcome you to our Memorial Day celebration. On behalf of our students, our staff, and our school family, today's program is about honoring those who have served and are serving in the armed forces. Specifically from our own Holly Grove families, we are honoring several of our extended Holly Grove family members that were lost in service. We're also thinking over 325 service members that are either currently serving in the armed forces or are veterans. Also at this time, I'd like to thank our committee. We have a huge committee of staff as well as parents who have made this day possible. I'd also like to thank Lowe's for building of the wall. So there was a lot of work that went into making this day possible. And at this time, I'd like to recognize some of our special guests. We have with us today our Southern Area Superintendent, Mr. Lloyd Gardner. District 8 Board Member, Ms. Susan Evans. Our Mayor, Dick Sears. Councilman Tim Sack. Councilwoman Linda Hunt-Williams. Ken Prue, I believe, is in the crowd somewhere. He's the principal of Holly Grove Middle School. We have with us Second Lieutenant Woody Browning. Lieutenant Bill Robinson. The Cap Cadets from the Raleigh Wake Composite Squadron of the Civil Air Patrol. The Holly Grove Middle School Band and their director, Mr. Capps. And other citizens from Holly Springs. Thank you again for being here. At this time, I would like to invite to the podium Susan Evans, Mr. Lloyd Gardner, and Mayor Sears to bring greetings from the Board of Education, from Wake County Public School System, and from the town of Holly Springs.
Thank you and good morning. This is one of my favorite events of the year. I do bring greetings this morning from the Wake County Board of Education. This is such a special event, and I'm so happy to be here and tell you how pleased we are to have you honoring our veterans and those who died in service. I'll be brief to share a quote from our former President John F. Kennedy. He once said, "Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and the success of liberty." I'm glad to be here today to help us honor all of those who paid the price and bore the burden for our liberty. Thank you.
Good morning. What a beautiful day and a special purpose to come together. I am privileged and honored to be with you today. And I just want to say a huge thank you to you, the students, your teachers and staff, Ms. Thomas, your principal, your assistant principals, Mr. Matthews and Ms. McKinnon, the Holly Springs community, for the vision that you had several years ago to establish an annual program at your school to celebrate Memorial Day and for those all who have served. It is incredible how this event has continued to grow and become broader in this community to celebrate this special weekend. Students across this nation, this Memorial Day weekend, we pay tribute to those who work so hard in their service to protect our freedom. And while often many of us may associate with this weekend a holiday from school or the official start of the summer, this weekend is so much more. It is a time to remember, a time to honor those who made such a sacrifice, a personal sacrifice, to make our country so great. As a result of their unselfish, willing service, we can enjoy and celebrate freedom. I know at the end of this service and after this weekend, many of the blue, white, and red banners may come down. The patriotic music may stop. But I want to challenge you to do something for me. I want you to challenge to find time to express gratitude and to honor veterans who gave up their time, gave their life so that we could enjoy freedom and so that we could enjoy this great country that it is. You and I only have to look to veterans and those individuals who still currently serve to learn so many lessons. Lessons about bravery, lessons about leadership, lessons about service to our country, to our community, and lessons about sacrifice. So this weekend, commit with me to say thank you to those who we may come across in our pathways who have served and currently serve. Think about what freedom means to you and continue to find ways that we can express gratitude. Students, I'm proud of you. I'm glad to be here with you to celebrate this weekend. Thank you for what you do and thank you for the leaders you are. Thanks.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Ms. Thomas. I want to kind of make a little sidebar comment here. I think most of you are familiar with the fact that Ms. Thomas is retiring as of June the 30th. So I would like to take a special moment to wish you the very best. You're much too young to retire, but however, if you do choose to do so, she has been one of the finest principals I've ever had the pleasure of working with. So let's give Ms. Thomas a big hand. Also, I want to say good morning to all the hedgehogs. So when I say good morning, what do? I say good morning. A little more than that. Last time you were louder. Good morning. That's what I love to hear. That's what I love to hear. But just to remember one thing. Shortly after World War I, this day's purpose was declared to honor those who have died in all American wars. That's all. And in 1971, this day was declared a national holiday by the Act of Congress. That is in the agenda that most of you received. And today I'm very, very proud and very grateful to this school for making this the major Memorial Day celebration in the town of Hot Springs, North Carolina. You caught that one, right? Is it Hot Springs? Well, what is it? Oh yeah, that's right, it's Holly Springs. Well, today it's hot too. So anyway, you kids do a great job. I'm very proud of you, and as somebody said once before, if it's good for the kids, it's good for Holly Springs. You make that happen. You make that happen. You make that happen. And we remember all veterans, and particularly those who paid the ultimate sacrifice in defense of our freedom.
Good morning, everybody. Well, that is great. I can't believe that 10 years ago that was me. So, if you haven't, I know I've already been introduced, but I'm David Griffith. Ms. Hale was my kindergarten teacher. So, I'm trying to figure out whether I'm hot because of the sun or if I'm hot because everybody's looking at me. So, bear with me. So, to get started, I wanted to take a moment and applaud all the military men and women in armed forces in our presence today, and all the men and women overseas still serving. So if you could take a minute and join me in giving a round of applause to them, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys for that. So, I am a Boy Scout in Troop 320 in Fuquay, Varina, and my big brother Sam was a Marine in the United States Marine Corps. Unfortunately, in 2011, he was killed in action in Afghanistan. Sam was my best friend, he was my big brother, and best of all, he was my role model. It's safe to say that I lost part of myself when he died. But because of that, it has pushed me to do the things that I am doing today. Sam was also an Eagle Scout in my troop, and his Eagle Scout project was to go to all the homes in Holly Springs and install fire detectors in the homes that could not provide one for themselves. I told Sam before he died that either way, I wanted to do an Eagle Scout project that would benefit the men and women in the United States military, and when he died, it sort of pushed me to work even further towards that. In 2012, after my brother died, my dad and I sat down at my home in Duncan, North Carolina, and we planned a Holly Springs 1 Sarah Memorial, who I've been working with for the past, I'd say, year and a half with Mayor Sears, who has become one of my great, best friends. So he's great. Everybody over there is great. But what my Eagle Scout project consists of is the War on Terror Memorial. And what the memorial is a 10-foot by 10-foot brick patio in the shape of a pentagon. In the middle of this patio is a 3-foot by 2-foot piece of marble in the shape of a pentagon. And on each side of the marble, it has different things that honor and remember what happened on 9/11 and what's going on in the War on Terror today. Topped off on this memorial is a piece of World Trade Center steel that fell from the core beam of Tower 2. And this was installed so that little kids just as yourselves could one day go out and touch a piece of history and remember all the sacrifices that were made for your freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take a second to talk to you about what Memorial Day really is. 10 years ago, I used to think Memorial Day was just a holiday that I could spend with my family, have a cookout, go swimming, enjoy ourselves. But in 2011, reality hit me, and I realized that it's much more than that. To me, Memorial Day is a day of honor and memory, not just to my big brother Sam, but to all the men and women who have served and lost their lives in not just the war in Afghanistan, but every war before it. Today, I would encourage you all to go out after this service and shake a hand or say thank you to all the men and women who are here in uniform and all the people who are not but have served in the military. I have high hopes for you guys because I know that you guys are the future generations who are going to lead this country. And I know the choices that you make from this day forward will affect our country in the future. I pray that you guys have the guidance you need, and knowing with Miss Hale at the side of you guys will definitely have good leaders. And I just wish you guys the best of luck, because that, for everybody who's been sitting here today, they wished me the best of luck, and I've been working so hard to make this country a better place, just like my big brother Sam. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
This is my America, to that the Gettysburg Address text was not written by Abraham Lincoln until the day before he arrived in Gettysburg? Lincoln arrived in Gettysburg by train the day before the event, spent the night at the Wills House on the town square, and delivered his short speech for dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery on November 19, 1863.
He delivered the Gettysburg Address text under a honey locust tree in Cemetery Ridge. The town of Gettysburg commemorates the historic event every year on November 19th, now called Remembrance Day.
The Gettysburg Address. 407 years ago, our fathers brought upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of it as a final resting place for those who died here and that the nation might live. This we may, in all propriety, do. But, in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have hollowed it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, while it can never forget what they did here.
It is rather for us, the living, we here be dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they here gave the last full measure of devotion, that we highly resolve these dead shall not have died in vain, that the nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
The Gettysburg Address meaning. Lincoln's speech puts the Civil War in perspective as a test of the success of the American Revolution. The nation founded on equality was in the midst of a war to determine whether such a nation could continue to exist. He said that they were gathered to formally dedicate ground hallowed by the men, American citizens, who died there, but his speech turned the event into a rededication of the living to the war effort to preserve a nation of freedom.
fold, they straighten out the flag to fold length and fold length once. The first fold of our flag symbolizes life. They fold it a second time. The second fold is a symbol of our belief in eternal life. A triangular fold is then started, folding the edge to the open edge. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of a veteran departed our ranks and who gave a portion of his or her life for the defense of our country to attain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature as American citizens trusting. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, from the words of Stephen Decatur. Our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and the republic to which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is through the armed forces we protect our country and our flag against all enemies, whether they be found in or without the boundaries of our republic. The 13 stripes on the flag represent the original 13 states: Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maryland, South Carolina, New Hampshire, Virginia, New York, North Carolina, and Rhode Island. The 50 stars represent our 50 United States of America. The portion of the flag detonating honor is a canton of blue containing the stars, representing stars of our veterans serving in uniform. The canton field of blue dresses from left to right and is inverted only when dropped on the pall of a casket of a veteran who has served our country honorably in uniform. After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it has the appearance of a cocked hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington, and the sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones, and were followed by their comrades and shipmates in the U.S. Armed Forces, preserving us with the rights, privileges, and freedoms we enjoy today.
God bless America. story behind the Remembrance Poppy.
This is a story of how the red field poppy came to be known as an internationally recognized symbol of remembrance. From its association with poppies flowering in the spring of 1915 on the battlefields of Belgium and France, this vivid red flower has become synonymous with great loss of life in war.
The scope of the poppy and its connection with the memory of those who have died in war has been expanded to help the living too.
It was the inspiration and dedication of two women who promoted this same memorial flower as the means by which funds could be raised to support those in need of help, most especially servicemen, servicewomen, and civilians suffering from physical or mental hardship as a result of the war. The sight of these delicate, vibrant red flowers growing on the shattered ground caught the attention of a Canadian soldier by the name of John McCrae.
How they had sprung up in the disturbed ground of the graves around the artillery position he was in. It was during the warm days of early May 1915 when he found himself with this artillery brigade near the Ypres-Yser Canal.
He is believed to have composed the poem following the death of a friend and fellow soldier, Alexis Helmer, at that time. The first lines of the poem have become some of the most famous lines written in relation to the First World War.
In Flanders fields,
according to legend, fellow soldiers retrieved the poem after McCrae, intentionally dissatisfied with his work, discarded it. In Flanders Fields was first published on December 8, 1915 in the London-based magazine Punch.
it is one of the most popular and most quoted poems from the war. As a result of its immediate popularity, parts of the poem were used in propaganda efforts and appeals to recruit soldiers and raise money selling war bonds.
Its references to the red poppies that grew over the graves of fallen soldiers resulted in the Remembrance Poppy becoming one of the world's most recognized memorial symbols for soldiers who have died in conflict.
The poem and poppy are prominent Remembrance Day symbols throughout the Commonwealth of Nations, particularly in Canada, where In Flanders Field is one of the nation's best-known literary works. The poppy has also become the symbol for Memorial Day here in the United States. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt on, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field.
Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you prevailing hands we throw. Towards the earth, so hold it high.
If ye break faith with us who died, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field. I stare out around me. I stand in the middle of the battlefield, an island in a sea of the fallen. Everything stopped. The booms of the cannons, the shots of the guns, the cries of the battle, and the wails of the agonized, it's all stopped. The Great War replays over and over in my head. My purple heart beats, slow but beating all the same. The grass is crushed where men have stepped in it and fallen. The sky is dark and stormy, the ground muddy and slippery. I shudder as I remember seeing man after man, soldier after soldier, drop to the ground and not get back up again. I feel lucky, standing here with my purple heart. My bleeding leg trembles, then buckles, pulling me to the ground. I try to get up, but my leg, my muscles, do not allow it. My purple heart, I realize in shock, is beating slower and slower with each passing moment. I am terrified, but as I lay in the soft grass with the other men, I just stay there. As my purple heart slows, I stare up at the sky. A soft light begins to appear through the darkness of it. Seeing this light, I feel strangely calm. I take a deep, relaxing breath. My eyes begin to close. And before I know it, I am in a soothing sleep that which I know I will never awaken from.
It's a great privilege to be here today to read these names. As I read these names of those that have paid the ultimate price in defense of our country, I would ask that you stand before I start.
I would like to say, Mayor Sears, I think we can say every day at Holly Grove is a special day, but I think we can definitely declare that today has been a very special day. Students, I think we need a little shout out to you. A lot of expectations that were placed on you out here to sit, to listen, to take it all in, and rose to the challenge.